in the African tradition that before we speak to the community, we get permission from our elders. I would like to ask one of the elders in the control room to give us permission to speak. You may speak. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, and as you can tell, the topic is going to be reparation now, reparation update, reparation now, reparation update. And this is something that has been going on for years and years, and we might as well just go ahead with centuries. I'm gonna go ahead and just start off by giving my commentary just 3 minutes before I let Professor Muhammad just take his place. Oh, there are some fabulous books that you need to be reading. One would be Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. Another one would be Blueprint for Black Power by the great Amos Wilson. Another book would be The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Another book would be Police Brutality, The Slaughter, An American Atrocity. We have Without Sanctuary, and these are just some small books some really powerful books that we need to get into. We also have Brother Takuna Malana book, Cajun I Am, Creole. Cajun I Am Not, I'm not Cajun nor Creole, by Brother Takuna Malana El Shabazz. And I have the book, and I just don't have it right here. And then another book by Professor Muhammad is the National Reparation Declaration. This book you'll be able to find at Umoja Bookstore right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and that would be Brother Uuka. And you could go ahead and get in touch with it as soon as possible. There's also this book here is the United States Constitution and the fascinating facts about it. You could take this book and you could tear it up or throw it away, or maybe you could recycle it because it's a bunch of lies in here. They don't really tell you the truth and the whole truth. And so, but try to recycle it. But you got to understand their laws in order for us to go forward with addressing them. Professor Reginald Muhammad was born in Tallahassee, Florida, and grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. He is a political and behavior scientist at National Reparation Institute and Summit in Atlanta, Georgia, and a veteran member of the Nation of Islam. He is the author of the book In Fear of Leading, and his work is featured in the books No Crystal Stairs and Light and Day in Black Louisiana. His hard-hitting Black political point editorials have been featured online and in the national and local newspaper. He has actively worked in the reparation movement for more than 25 years and has published his master thesis, The Movement to Secure Reparation for Blacks in America, and analyze of pragmatic models and methodologies. All right. He received his bachelor degree in political science from Wilberforce University. He completed the military science program at Central State University, which earned him a commission in the United States Army. Professor Muhammad is a graduate of the Columbus School of Broadcasting. In addition, he received his master's degree in political science from Clark Atlanta University. His past and present memberships include the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparation in America, which is NCOBRA, the National Conference of Black Political Science, NCOPS, at Prince Hall, Free and Accepted Mason, and Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc. He has received numerous awards, including Who's Who in America College and Universities, Outstanding Young Man in America, the Black Book Achievement Award, and the Malcolm X Award. In 2018, the Southern Center for Human Rights presented him with the Gideon Promise Award. Professor Muhammad worked with the Bloods and the Crips for more than a decade as a mentor and mediator. to end the violence and conflict between two of Los Angeles' most notorious street gangs. He is adjacent professor of political science at Atlanta University. He has lectured widely at colleges, universities, including the University of California at Irvine, California State University, and Long Beach, Central State University, Benedict College, Long Beach, City College, Pasadena City College, Compton Community College, Morehouse College, Rusk College, Spelman College, and the list go on and on. We're going to just go ahead and just dive into this live segment. You can reach us at 337-366-8950, and let's just go with it. Yes, please.
My sister Queen Khadija, thank you so much for allowing me to be here on the Community Defender, because we know that you have an extensive track record for more than a couple of decades on the ground working with our people. I am honored and I'm privileged to be here tonight with you and the people who made this possible, and our sound people in the booth.
Brother G, Brother Shaheen.
And so I thank you, sister, because at the end of the day, this is about reparations update. And I just wanted to maybe say a few things to your audience about reparations update, where we are.
Yes, sir.
But let's lay the groundwork, because at the end of the day, this is the most catastrophic. This is the most contentious. This is the most compelling. This is the most comprehensive case to ever have to be litigated, negotiated, or legislated on behalf of any people at any time in human history. And I don't say that lightly. This is one reason why reparations, we have, for more than 100 years in America, Blacks have been organizing and working and pushing for reparations.
Yes,
and so here we are in the first quarter of the 21st century, and still this is one of the, yes.
I'm gonna look at your camera.
Oh, okay. And still this is one of the, a time and period where we can secure reparations, but our people have to be organized, our people have to be united, and then too, we have to be educated. And then we have to get rid of the fear that we have about reparations and what it will mean in the restoration and the transformation of Black life in America.
Well, we've always known about reparation, and usually that's one of the most heated type of conversation you could have. From some people saying that they don't care about no 40 acres and a mule. Can you explain that to us, sir?
Well, a lot of times, Queen Khadija, when Black people who don't agree with reparations, generally, if you talk to them within a number of first 10 to 15 minutes, what you will generally find for those Blacks who don't agree with reparations, there is a level of fear, what the white backlash will be, or they're ignorant about what reparations is. Generally, those are only two reasons why Blacks don't support reparations, because they support reparations for others. But when you have a situation where a people who have been traumatized, terrorized, tortured, and tormented for centuries, it's in the very DNA and the psyche of the people. There's a level of ignorance that has developed. There's a level of underdevelopment that is there, and there's a level of fear. So Black people have to get through all of that, because remember now, others have received reparations where Blacks have supported. Black Congress people who have voted for reparations for the Native Americans here, so-called Native Americans, the Japanese, and the Jews, some of them have not supported reparations for Blacks in America, because only in the last 10 years, as we updated and look at reparations, only in the last 10 years where reparations is starting to become popular. After the book by Randall Robinson, The Debt, What is Owed to Black America, 2000 publication, it was the first book written by us and for us as it relates to reparations. It made the New York Times bestseller. Black people got a little better and said, you know what, maybe this is not a wild militant, wild extreme cause or movement. Randall Robinson. Then by 2015, Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote a piece in The Atlantic. That also helped spur the reparations movement, and people say, well, you know what, maybe this is not so extreme after all, because both of them presented the case. But what we have right now, Queen Khadija, is that we have a situation here that if you ask 100 Black people, friends that you know what reparations is, you'll probably get 100 different answers. And that's in part because the movement is splintered, it's fragmented. And at the end of the day, we have to consolidate that movement.
Yes, sir.
And it has become popular. You saw the presidential candidates, on the Democratic side, talk about reparations for the first time openly nationally. So now what you have is you have a segment of the Black bourgeoisie who are saying, you know what, maybe this is not a bad idea. Maybe we can secure reparations. It's not an extreme idea. But what you see now, there's some people who have jumped out there and say, well, we need to close the wealth gap. So we can, and it's become very popular among Black professionals saying, well, reparations is about closing the wealth gap. That's a part of it, but that's not the complete. We're talking, and in COBRA and the National Reparations Institute, we're talking a complete or a full reparations. We're not talking a partial payment. We're not talking about a program that you can just decide within a matter of days and then the bourgeois sector and the neoliberals, whites, are happy about it. And so that's where we have to be very careful that at this point, reparations is on the hearts and the minds of the people, but we have to be very careful. And I want the people of the community defender to know, and your audience to know, that we got to make sure that they do not hijack the movement. We can control our own narrative. And at the end of the day, we do a declaration. That was one reason why we did the declaration, because one of the things that we hopefully have done there, because we took our time and did the research, is that declaration will spell out what reparations is. So you'll be very clear after you read it. It's not a 200-page document. It's only 54 pages. And it will clearly tell you who owe us, why they owe us, how much they owe us, and then two, why reparations is essential. Now, one of the things that has not happened in the movement, we talk reparations in a very general and a very broad way. But what does that look like? So what we did was myself and Brother Michael Muhammad quantified it. For the first time, there are a number of books on reparations. There are reports, there are opinion op-eds, there are essays, and all of that on reparations. But what does reparations look like for the masses of our black people? Well, if you read the declaration, you'll see that what we've done is broke it down for the first time. That's why it is a historic document. It is a first of its kind. And that's not to be boastful about it, but it is the first of its kind. And I'm encouraging all of your readers to read it, because again, you will be very clear about what reparations is. It's clearly defined in the declaration. You will clearly know who owe us, why they owe us, and how much they owe us. It's one thing to say that Congress owes us, Queen Khadija, and to the audience, but it's another thing to recognize that it's not only Congress or the government that owes us at the national, state, and local government that owe Black people. But what about the select multinational corporations that benefit from the transatlantic enslavement and trafficking of Black people? I said the transatlantic enslavement and trafficking of Black people. Remember, I didn't say transatlantic slave trade. We have to get the language right. We can't allow our enemies to talk about it and set it up as if it was a trade. Somehow it was there was an agreed upon activity by Blacks and African leaders. That never happened. And I know others who have said differently, but that never happened on a massive scale. But at the end of the day, select multinational corporations owe us, but then too, there are nonprofit organizations that owe us. Give an example, colleges and universities, the major Ivy League schools in America, and we're not just talking rhetoric here, this is well documented and well researched, but Harvard University, Georgetown, Cornell, Brown University, and a host of others, they made their fortune off of the enslavement and trafficking of Black people. That's just key. And a lot of times, Queen Khadija, when I'm talking reparations, even to my students, their thing is, well, that happened so long ago. Why do we gotta always talk about the enslavement of Black people, and why we always gotta bring the race thing up? Well, but here's what's so important about it. We live in a capitalist society. America becomes a superpower as a result of the enslavement and the trafficking of our people and the exploitation and the degradation and the suppression of our people.
Yes.
See, this is key because at the end of the day, you get the banking institution.
That's right.
You get the shipping. You get the whole industrial revolution. The restoration and the transformation of Black life. And the only way to do it, Queen Khadija, is complete or full reparations. Anything else, and I said this here in Lafayette, Louisiana, anything else anybody brings you is economic and political patchwork. It will not complete the restoration and the transformation of Black life for the remainder of the 21st century. It will not happen unless we have complete reparations.
Yes, indeed. And the telephone number to call us at is 337-366-8950. Professor Reginald, I wanted to find out, so you're saying is that, because like in the debate dealing with reparation, you're saying is that the $1,400 stimulus check, that's not nothing with reparation, is just what, why some people think that that's part of reparation.
Well, that's because of their lack of knowledge.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because reparations is about repairing the damage. There's some physical, spiritual, and external damage that has to be addressed. And we have to address that. We can't continue to blame the victim for the crime. We say, well, teenage pregnancy is the problem. We say alcohol abuse is the problem. We say the lack of education is the problem. And we say that the rampant drug problem in the community, suicide, the prison population, those are the lack of the Black family, single parent households headed by Black women. We say those are the problems of Black America. And I suggest to the audience, no, those are the results of our problem. The problem is that we've never repaired the damage. Those are not the problems of Black people. Those are the results of our problem. And so at the end of the day, once reparations, a complete or full reparations is implemented, then you'll see the restoration and the transformation of Black life. I'm talking about for the masses of our people. So that way, Pookie, Peanut, and Ray Ray and Sinead, all of them are now included. You'll see a restoration and a transformation of Black life family. So if this is not a bourgeois, Black elite, Black middle class movement, this has to be for the masses of our people. And anybody coming to your audience members or anybody else in academia, the community, anybody saying that they're with any organization and they're not talking full and complete reparations, generally, if you look deeper, then they're talking about their own self-interest as opposed to what will be the benefit and the interest of the masses of our people.
Ooh, and when you say the masses of our people, and included, we have our little Pokey, little Ray Ray, Shaniqua. I mean, that's inclusive. I mean, because in order for us to really excel to the next level, to any level,
Yeah.
we've got to be inclusive of everyone. That is ideal.
And you mentioned too, because the word reparations is being thrown around, people saying, well, stimulus checks, we have some of the white conservatives and the white neoliberals saying, well, Biden has given you all this and that. First off, government is supposed to provide goods and services and a level of protection for its people. That will never, giving our people a paycheck of any amount, if we have not psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually dealt with the damage, it will never, you never will see the restoration and the transformation of Black life.
Yes. Excuse me. Carly, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, this is Brother Darrell.
Hey, Brother Darrell.
Wow,
Brother,
Mr. Salam, how are you, brother?
I'm doing awesome and fantastic. And of course, I'm very much enjoying the show via the Facebook feed, and it's absolutely outstanding. I think that what you're bringing in terms of a comprehensive approach to repairing the damage is absolutely essential to get our people to understand what has to be done in order to repair the damage. That the root word of reparation is repair.
Thank you, brother.
And even if you gave, as some people have said, $120,000 to every man, woman, and child, if you give $120,000 hypothetically to a person with a damaged mind,
Yes,
to a person who still goes to a European school, pledges to a flag supposedly sold by Betsy Ross,
yes,
you
sir.
still are perpetuating the same problem.
Absolutely.
So I just want to commend you on your comprehensive approach to it, understanding that the damage done to us is the thing that needs to be repaired.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think, my brother, about the concept of sovereignty zones? Areas where we and our people are sovereign, where we can work on ourselves free from the input of our enemies. I'm gonna go ahead and get off and take your answer on the air. God bless y'all, and may Allah continue to bless y'all.
Walaikum salam. And thank you, Brother Darrell, for the question, and thank you for the body of work that you have done for decades, brother. We are grateful and appreciative of that, and we all have benefited from your work, and we're certainly grateful for that work. To answer your question, yes, I think that there has to be sovereign zones, but not only that, brother, one of the things that we're going to be doing is a national summit, and our second annual national summit on reparations, because what we have to do is Black organizations, Black leaders from all the organizations who are talking and pushing reparations have to sit behind closed doors and talk about and lay out what that really looks like. But you are right, there's zones, but then too, one of the things that's key to the audience is that we must talk about the states and the territories that they owe us. They owe us millions of acres of land. Because remember now, after the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 on until the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, Black people still had over 14 million acres of land. Now we're down to less than 2 million acres of land. And so all people that are self-respecting, self-determining, self-defining, self-defending, and self-developing, they have a certain control over the land mass that they are operating under. They have it for food, clothing, shelter, and developing themselves and their population. So the zones will be good, but we have to add to those zones, and we have to talk about the states that they owe us. And the minister said, if we're not talking about millions of acres of land that they owe us, all of it is a compromise and a sellout. So we want to be very clear about that. But those zones that you're talking about, that's key, because some of our people will not want to leave the enemy. Some of our people will work well in those states, in those zones, and we need that. There's a repatriation piece also too with that. There's some of us who will require dual citizenship back on the continent of Africa to some of the countries that we were snatched from. So that's a part of, and we're talking complete reparations here. And thank you, Brother Darrell, for that question.
Yes. You have a question or comment? Caller, you're on.
Yes, good evening.
Hey, brother.
To you, yes.
Hey, brother.
You know, Sister Khadija, this is concern community access to Wallace Synagogue. You know, reparations. Let's start talking about reparations, and we're gonna go back into the 60s. If you Google minimum wage for blacks in the 60s, and it's gonna come up with what white minimum wage was. 120 for blacks, 791 for white, you know? So now, we're looking at all these people, you understand me, that work for minimum wage,
That's right.
under minimum wage, and there would be, tax deducted for Social Security.
Yes.
Now, you got a 120, you know, minimum wage compared to 791 minimum wage. You know, the black was getting 120, the white was getting 795.
Yes,
So
sir.
now, these minimum wage that is coming out of these elderly Social Security check is chicken feed.
Yes, sir. That's
You
right.
know, they can't almost afford to buy their groceries. They can't almost afford to buy or pay for their medication. You know, they upkeep of their house. You know, and things like this here. And I understand that, because the person that was making 791, you understand me, in 1960, they could go out and buy their nice big SUVs, F-100s, you know, all the things that it takes for them to keep on being what they are. But they don't want to give us reparations, you know, and they're the ones that's a part of, you know, that $1.20 compared to that 791, you know, in 1970, you know, blacks was making 207, you know, and white folks was making 802.
Yeah.
Now, they get their retirement, you understand me, under 802 or better, you know, where blacks is getting retirement under 207, 120, you understand me, and the numbers don't match up.
That's right.
This is a part of reparation, you know,
Absolutely.
and people got to understand reparation is not just giving us what they owe us, giving us what we should deserve to have,
Yes, sir.
you know?
Absolutely.
And everybody else, that's just the way it is. Thank you, Sister Khadija.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, my brother. For
Thank you.
being the power home that y'all are tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And Sister Khadija, now he mentioned the wages that we were never paid.
Yes,
Remember, they work our people for 300 years, 310 years with no pay.
that's right.
Well, one of the things that we did in the declaration, what he talked about, you have to go back and look at what the wages were then, compound that with a minimum of 3% interest, and you'll be able to you'll get the fact that they owe us trillions of dollars. If you go back, one of the first books that was ever written on reparations in the United States is published by the mid-80s. And the book is called Stolen Black Labor. And Stolen Black Labor, Queen Khadija, it deals with what he's talking about. And the book is written by Chairman Omali Yesatella, Stolen Black Labor. And this book was published, one of the first books, again, published by a black writer and author and scholar and activist he's an elder now today in St. Petersburg, Florida. You will notice some of his work from the Burning Spear newspaper. But he wrote the book Stolen Black Labor, and what the caller was referring to, he's done that math and quantified what that looks like, to the degree that back this book was published more than 30 years ago, but he showed conclusively how he quantified and broke down the numbers is that he showed that they owed us a minimum of $4.1 trillion just in lost wages or stolen wages.
Yes.
$4.1 trillion.
Oh my name.
That's just in what the caller was talking about in the wages that were stolen.
Yes.
There's a recent book called The Black Tax. The Black Tax. Well, brother talks about what was stolen, and I can't remember the author's name, but Sean, I'll call it in a minute. But the Black Tax also breaks down how not only that the wages were stolen for blacks that they never received, but remember they had what was called the Homestead Act,
Right.
where they gave millions of acres of land to white people as long as they would farm. Blacks never benefited from the Homestead Act. And then up until the early 70s, blacks were not benefiting from the GI Bill.
Ooh.
And so we have done all of that in my humble work with Brother Michael, who's the co-author of the National Reparation Declaration. We have compounded all of that and shown you conclusively there's some trillions of dollars that's owed to black people. And so, but the call is right. I was just saying that the call is right and correct, that has to be included in the reparations. And that's why we won't allow them to control the narrative. The congressional people some of them who don't know reparations, but because the bill is popular right now and it's the buzzword, they're on, they're saying we support reparations. But we're gonna see in the up and coming months how well they do support reparations. And the key is that our people don't end up with economic and political patchwork and a policy that's not complete or full reparations that will benefit the masses of our people.
Ooh, I mean, this is really, really powerful, mind-boggling. And as a matter of fact, you gave a fantastic presentation yesterday at Imani Temple. Yesterday with Bishop Milton, Sister Marja. We had so many people that was there. We had a chance to ask like some really good questions. One of the questions that I had asked, I wanted to find out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just get this caller right now.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Caller, you have a question or comment for Professor Reginald?
I have a comment for both you and illustrious Professor Muhammad. This is not a local.
Oh, hey, no.
How you doing?
This Chief.
They're doing great and loving the show. Professor Muhammad, as always. And I just want to, that person, the Black Cat, I think it's Scott Reginald, I think it is, or Scott.
I believe it's another name, but it was published the last couple of years. It's called The Black Tax by,
yes,
what is his name?
Great book, but the one that my comment is that every viewer needs to get a copy of the National Reparations Declaration.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for the body of it.
It is enlightening. Nana Abina, my wife and I have read it over twice.
Thank you, brother.
So we suggest that everyone gets it, everyone comes to the summit or participate through Zoom, however it's going to be televised.
Yes,
and because we need each other.
absolutely.
And that's how this is going to be, as the brother said before, profoundly. The first part of that word is repair.
Absolutely.
We can only repair by coming together as one solid unit.
Yes.
So thank you all. Thank you, Sister Khadija, for always being a voice crying out in this. And thank you, Professor Muhammad. We love you and keep that work up.
Brother, thank you. I'm just honored to be here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and thank you all for receiving me. I'm so grateful and appreciative, and I know, brother, with our unity, we can make this happen, and then the masses of our people will benefit from it. We won't be around here, or if we're not around here 50, 60 years from now, our children and our grandchildren will benefit from the body of work that we've already done, and our ancestors will be proud of the body of work that we have done, because at the end of the day, it's about complete reparations for the restoration and the transformation of Black life. Thank you, brother, and your family. I say to you, brother, wa alaikum salam.
Yes, indeed. I have a 8 pin right here. But yes, indeed, and we are so elated. I mean, just because like it's just so good to not only bring information, but conscious information that's for us, about us, to us, and everything else that it entitles. Now, we also one of the questions that was asked was about the you've done your time in the military. Okay,
Yes.
you are awarded your DD 214. You're awarded with showing that you could get you like a house and everything like that.
Yes, okay.
But when you go to get the house, they want to go ahead and do some kind of scoring with Equifax.
Yeah, Xperia,
Yeah,
TransUnion.
and
Yes,
they're not giving you the right kind of numbers.
exactly.
So, how does reparation entitle veterans also? Because you said it's inclusive of all of us.
Yes.
How do we get our due entitlement?
Well, I think what has to happen after the summit,
Gee,
we will issue reports from our scholars and our experts and our students and our youth. We will issue reports. And one of the things that has to happen, at the end of the day, this is about public policy. And so it has to be spelled out by us and for us what those damages look like.
Mhm.
So those who we know, and see, this is easy, this can be easily documented. Some of the best kept records in America are military records.
yes,
And so at the end of the day, we know blacks who did not, because blacks have served in every theater of war in America since being snatched and brought here. So we know black families, some of our ancestors who fought, bled, and died in America on behalf of America, who served in the military, bottom line. But we have those records. So that has to be included in the final bill for reparations. Those who served in the military, this is where we bring in our experts, those who can quantify this, those who are the numbers people, the economists and others. They will have to figure out and decide what that looks like. But we have enough in that declaration, more than $83 trillion as a minimum. Once we get that, that will address those who have been robbed of their GI Bill benefits, blacks who were robbed of the Homestead Act,
yes.
and all of that should have happened. The land grants that should have been given to black organizations, all of that was missing. Once we push and organize for complete reparations, it will address that. That's the bottom line, and that's what we're talking about, a complete or full reparations.
yes. Carly, you have a question or a comment?
Greetings.
Oh, brother,
Greetings, brother.
welcome.
Greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good, how you doing, brother?
Doing fine. I'm enjoying the show. I want to thank you for providing this wealth of information on reparations.
Thank you, brother, for your body of work and for allowing us to be here and helping facilitate our arrival and making sure that we met the right people here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and the greater area. I'm so grateful and appreciative, brother, and the work that you all continue to do at Emotion.
Yes, I want to give you the name of the author that you were talking about with the black tag.
Okay.
The Sean Rochester.
Sean Rochester, exactly, absolutely. I got you.
I still carry the book.
Yes.
I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, but it's a well-documented piece.
Good body work.
Yeah.
It's good work where there's good numbers in there.
Yeah.
And of course, the National Reparations Declaration that you are speaking of, I think that book definitely highlights a lot that qualified a lot of our things that we need to do in terms of reparations.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. And of course, it's just a framework now. And what we're saying, we can build from that framework. It's a minimum framework, and we quantified it. So that's why, brothers and sisters like yourself, because brother, you are a numbers man. You're an expert, and you'll be able to help us quantify even more and come up even more conclusive. That's why we asking, don't worry about your theology, your philosophy, or your ideology.
Mhm.
Be a part of this, be in unity with us, because 95% of our problem could be solved with our unity. So teaches the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And his top and great student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we're just in unity, brother. Unity doesn't mean unanimity. It means that we can sit down and work together with what we agree upon. And again, that means that we have to change who we are, what we're doing. But as long as you're about the liberation of our people and reparations for our people, we want you at the summit. And it's funny how, brother, that we have brothers and sisters out here now that they can always align themselves with neo-white liberals and white conservatives, but you won't do everything that you can to unite with us as a people.
Mm.
Think about that, brother. See, that's the psychological damage where we are.
That's right.
And there are some in all the organizations are doing a great work. But once we unite all those factions, we can do even a greater work on behalf of our children and our grandchildren yet to be unborn. And then again, I'm still suggesting this does not take 30 or 40 years to be done.
No.
We can do this.
That's right.
Yes, and I agree with all that you have said. And one of the key things with what we're trying to get accomplished with this reparations movement
Yes, sir.
is to control the narrative of what reparations is all about.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot, like you indicated before, there's a lot of people that are trying to misconstrue the true meaning of reparations.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Well, brother, that's why we offer a model and a methodology for doing this. We're not just talking theory. How do we do this? And at the end of the day, we can't allow them, because if we allow them to hijack the movement, because there is a segment of people who look like us, but not for us.
That's right.
And some of them are the black petty bourgeois sector who, well, at the end of the day, and some of them are neoliberal whites who will attempt to control this movement. And at the end of the day, Dr. King talked about them in some of his latter speeches. We have to be very careful. And that way, we got to make sure that the masses of our people, our youth and our students, are involved in this movement. That's one of my critiques and criticism of the movement from all of us. We have not done all we could to make sure that our students and our youth are involved in it. But all successful movements around the world has a student and youth component. Dr. King and the work that they did in Queen Mother Moore and Sojourner Truth, all of them in the movement, they were very young people in the movement. And so we have a model. They have given us a successful model if we would just utilize it. And so at the end of the day, let's be about making sure that we unite on all fronts and we consolidate the movement. We have a declaration, and then at the end of the day, it's spelled out in the way of public policy. That's the end game. That's the end game. Okay.
I will definitely be in attendance at the summer summit.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes.
Brother, thank you again, and thank your family for all that y'all continue to do.
Yes.
And we're just so blessed about the body of work that you have already done and you will continue to do. And in a united way, we will finally secure reparations for the masses of our people. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes,
brother.
yes, indeed. And brother, Uka brother, he's a professor or doctor.
Yes, Dr. Dalton Malibu.
Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah.
Blood brother. And he's a former colleague. Now he's down at another great HBCU, Prairie View. Yeah, he's down at Prairie View A&M. But he's taught at many schools. But you're talking about impeccable credentials and the body of work and research that he's done. Is Dr. Dalton Malvo, and he and I were in graduate school together many years ago at the Atlanta University Center.
Yes, indeed. And you could call in. You've noticed that we've had nothing but intelligent, intellectual, conscious callers, and we appreciate that because this is how we're going to do this conversation. Also, great Queen Mother Moore, Audrey Moore, she was from New Iberia. She was one of right there in New Iberia where we're from. Some of us are from, and she was on the forefront when it came down to reparation. Queen Mother Moore, She's my cousin. I know she's my cousin.
Yeah.
I know she's my cousin. Now, another problem that I see that is a major problem in the Black community would be the child support system. The child support here, what they tend to do is like they will go ahead and arrest a young man for child support. They'll go ahead and then like one young man that I know of, he took a paternity test and he was the fourth man to take the test. So you had test number one wasn't him, you had test number two wasn't him, you had test number three wasn't him, and test number four. I'm coming right back to that. Caller, question or comment?
Comment and question, great show, Sister Khadija. It's so refreshing to get another round of information on
Yes.
reparations in light of what has been going on for the last couple of years in the election cycle. The war of reparations was rolled around in the Black community, and the politicians definitely were saying the war of reparations this year, but we saw that before.
Yes.
And I'm looking at, if you just Google the word reparations and then go under the title of news, there are several new articles that has recently came out. I know the city of Evanston, Illinois, Evanston, Indiana, I think. I have to go back in that article, but definitely they have put forth a reparation plan for Black residents. It's supposedly the first U.S. city to do that. And I couldn't believe that. I thought something was done along those lines years ago. But I know Brown University, recently the student body voted along the lines of 80% to approve a reparation plan.
Okay.
We don't know if they implemented it or so successful. And I want to ask Brother Muhammad what he thinks about all the different, more talk of reparations. Like I say, you just Google the news articles, you would see it. But actually implementing this thing, and when you're living in a capitalist society such as America, we are so easily divided on what the future of reparation would be. There are several other people who are pushing reparation.
Yes.
And the thing is, how do Black folks wade through all of this and make a rational decision what's in their best interest? So that's my comment. I'm going to take the answer off there. I definitely appreciate some new information especially for a lay person like me. That's who you want to reach, right?
Oh, absolutely, brother. You're absolutely right. And brother, thank you for that great question, because you're right about what you're seeing all over the country. People are throwing the reparations comment around and putting a label on public policy at the local and state level, even the state of California, about reparations. But what you're finding though, and this is why the summit is so important, because that's not reparations. Remember now, governments are set up at the national level, state and local level to provide goods and services and a level of protection for all of its citizens. So now, what they see that reparations is a very popular term and a buzzword now, and so they're coming because they know what's happening too. They know that there's a body of people, some of the best minds to be found anywhere in the world, Black men and women right here in the United States, in Africa, and in the Isles of the Pacific, in the Caribbean, who understand what complete reparations look like. So we have to be very careful that we don't buy into what they're saying is reparations, because it's not reparations. Again, it's political and economic patchwork and finalized in the way of public policy. That's all it is. And so, because give an example, let's go back to Evanston.
Okay.
If you look at it, what it will end up being is a few $1,000s for individual families. That will not repair the damage of our people. And so at the end of the day, that's problematic, because how did you quantify, how did you come up with the numbers? I'm suggesting to the audience, Queen Khadija, and to the community of the Black Defenders audience, I'm suggesting that in many of these cases now in other cities that are popping up and saying reparations, what they're not doing is they're not getting Black people on the ground and from organizations like NCOBRA, the National Reparations Commission, and others. They're not getting organizations where we have people who are qualified and certified to quantify what reparations look like. And then two, where's your model and your methodology? So what you're doing is allowing Blacks to guess, neoliberal to guess. Some of them are perpetrators. Some of them are the defendants, and you're allowing them to tell you what reparations look like.
That's right.
That will never repair the damage. So we have to be very careful about that. That's why I'm encouraging those of you all who can go to our website, the National Reparations Institute, and you can order the ebook or order the bounded copy, because what it will do, it presents the model and the methodology for doing it. It's no guesswork about it. And you know, we are people of math. We gave the world math. We gave the world science.
Yes.
And so we have to utilize that now to decide exactly what reparations look like.
Okay.
And so that's why we will be, for the second year, we will bring some of the best minds in reparations from all the organizations, the civil rights organizations, the fraternities and the sororities, the Black church, the mosques, from the universities, students on the ground, and just for the lay people who can participate in this summit, we will be able to get on the same page and decide what reparations look like. And then once we issue a formal report, anybody coming behind that will know that they either sold out, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're attempting to compromise the movement for reparation, for complete reparation for the masses of our people.
Well, that's a wealth of information. Now, we only have like 5 minutes left. Okay, so now we got 4 minutes left. I wanted to just, we're gonna do part 2 when you do come back down here.
Yes,
I wanted to mention too is that another crisis in the Black community, besides what else we are going through, is the fact that you have to go to court for child support.
Yes.
How do you criminalize the man when we made the child and we were together? Nobody was a criminal, so now all of a sudden the man is the criminal, and for some reason for giving life, his license get removed.
Yeah.
He can't find work. They want to put him down as a convicted felon.
Yes.
My grandson went to jail for child support of what, $4,000 of a child that he was already taken care of.
Yes, ma'am.
And in that no good jail, they took him, they killed him. So now we have to figure out exactly how do we tap in on with reparation with the low life dogs, animals that continuously lock up our people. Because my great aunt, she had a baby for this white man that was a rich white man, and it nearly drove her crazy. And the relatives had to raise the baby.
Yeah.
You know, so something else got to be done.
Well, honestly, Queen, what will happen if once we secure reparation, complete reparations for the masses of our people, that will address that. Because remember now, what you're seeing with the rise in the prison population, that's just another way of enslaving our people at the end of the day. And this is about public policy. This is where we have to get kings and queens together who know public policy. And part of that complete reparation final draft and bill, it will address that, because Black men all over the country, in a very punitive way, they're punishing Black people for being poor in America.
That's right.
They're punishing with the whole child support. Black women deserve the child support. I pay child support, but I understand and look at it in the way of public policy. I know how damaging it is, and I see how it unevenly it'll affect the Black community. Again, you another way of dividing Black people, Black men and women, with the child support. And remember, these are mostly white legislators who have designed public policy that causes the schism, and they understood what the effects would be, especially on the Black community. And so that's why we gotta come up with complete reparations.
Yes, we want to thank you so very much. We have less than 30 seconds. You can find the National Reparation Declaration by Professor Muhammad at Umoja Bookstore. Umoja Bookstore is located 1006 Surrey, right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And
You can go to our website, nationalreparationsinstitute.org, nationalreparationsinstitute.org, and you can order that book and we'll get it out to you right away. We have our own think tank and research center supported by the people. And so your purchase of the document is not expensive at all, but do that and you will be supported. And then go ahead and register for the summit on July 30th through August 1st. It is historic. And again, we can secure reparations. And for the masses of our people, I like to close real quick. The global, national and global reparations institute is for and about our people to ultimately secure reparations for the masses of our people. So again, go to our website. Thank you, Queen Khadijah, and thank your entire audience at the Community Defenders for allowing us to be here and questioning us and asking us very good questions as it pertains to reparations.
And also we want to thank Queen Shelley too for being here and everything. We want to thank everybody. We are out. Stay tuned for part 2, which is going to be when he come back over here in Southwest Louisiana. Thank you. Okay, some really good questions, really good dialogue.
Oh, absolutely.
Brother Jay, is it a way that you could put the screen back up so that we could take a picture of the back screen with Minister Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan?
Well, thank all of you all, and of course, my benefactor, Sister Shelley,
Yeah.
all of you all for allowing me to be here, facilitating, Brother Shaheed, all of you all who have done just a tremendous work, and we're honored and appreciative because it really helps in the work that we're attempting to do.
Okay. Thank you so much. No, I want you to take it at the picture on the TV screen. Go closer.
Okay. I could get your screenshot off of the video if you
Sister
want.
Shelley,
It's
would you
even
take
better.
a picture of me?
Yeah. And I want Sister Shelley to be included.
Yeah, and I want to get a picture with both of you queens.
Okay, yeah.
We want you to take a picture, then we want you to be in
take
the
a picture
picture
and then
too.
be in the picture.
Please,
Okay.
please, sister.
It's just gonna be the black,
Is that,
the green background.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, wait, okay, yeah. Okay, good.
All right, brother,
Now,
Jay,
brother,
take
would you
one.
take a picture and sister
Sister
Shelley,
Shelley.
would you come and sit and let me get between two powerful women in the
But
movement?
I think Ken was trying to get.
Yeah, I know that's what you're trying to do.
Hey, you a host. I gotta remind you, I'm Mr. Gray.
Okay, hey, it happens
I saw
too.
you frowning on there. That's bad. Okay. 1, 2. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Overall, y'all thought it was
As
a
soon as,
decent show?
oh, yes, indeed, it was powerful. You know, people, they volunteer their time, and as soon as I get some money to pay people, to come and